Welcome back. Today, we're unpacking something so deeply baked into our daily routines that honestly, we barely even notice it anymore. I'm talking about the sense of taste. But what if I told you that just by rethinking how we experience flavor, we could completely transform our daily lives, our minds, and yeah, even our spiritual well-being? I know, it sounds huge, but the incredible framework we're going to explore in this explainer does exactly that. We're looking at how one simple mindset shift can totally redefine an experience we have, what, 3-4 times a day? Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to consider a pretty fascinating question to kick things off. Could the exact same organ act at times like a completely ordinary doorman and at other times like a meticulous, highly trained inspector? Well, your tongue actually does exactly this. Think about it. Every single day we eat, we taste, but we rarely pause to actually consider how we're using this incredible tool. Are we just letting food pass heedlessly through the gates of our mouths, or are we actively, consciously inspecting the experience?
Part 1. The dual nature of taste. Heedlessness versus gratitude.
So, to really unpack this dual nature, we're going to draw on a profound philosophical framework laid out by the scholar Sayyid Nursi, specifically from his writings in the 19th Lemma, which is known as the Treatise on Frugality. He lays out this striking contrast regarding how we humans consume our food. Picture the ordinary gatekeeper, right? This is someone just kind of lost in heedlessness. They consume without a second thought, totally lacking gratitude. For them, the sense of taste is literally just a door for the stomach. It's just ordinary consumption. But then, contrast that with the meticulous inspector. For those who are truly grateful, the exact same sense of taste takes on a completely different role. It elevates from a mere doorman to an inspector of what Nursi so beautifully calls the kitchen of mercy. The physical act of chewing and swallowing, exactly the same, but the spiritual awareness totally shifts the paradigm.
So the really crucial point here is how this inspection actually happens in real time. Nursi writes that this inspector, quote, with tiny scales, it weighs and recognizes each blessing, reporting back to the body as an act of spiritual gratitude. I mean, I just absolutely love that imagery. Just imagine these tiny, hyper-precise scales resting right there on your tongue, measuring the true depth and value of a flavor. When you operate with this mindset, your sense of taste doesn't just serve your physical stomach anymore. It serves the heart, the soul, and the mind. And because of this profound, higher-level function of recognizing and reporting blessings, the sense of taste actually holds a rank above the stomach itself. How wild is that?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this philosophy doesn't tell us to just abandon pleasure, not at all. Actually, it's the exact opposite. A person can absolutely seek out and enjoy pleasure, provided they don't fall into wastefulness, and as long as they meet 3 key conditions: fulfilling gratitude, consciously recognizing the blessing, and staying within what is legitimate. When you frame your consumption with these 3 pillars, you're avoiding waste, for sure. But more than that, the simple, everyday act of tasting actually transforms into a kind of worship. It becomes this deeply mindful, deliberate act of appreciation.
Part 2. The science of awareness. Validating the inspector mindset.
So you might be wondering, does this beautiful spiritual framework actually hold up under the rigorous lens of modern clinical psychology? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. And this brilliantly illustrates that point. We're looking at a fascinating 2013 systematic review by Robinson and colleagues, published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. It shows the psychology of eating attentively in action. Check this out. When our mindset is distracted or mindless, basically acting exactly like that ordinary gatekeeper we talked about earlier, our food intake is actually higher, but our perceived satisfaction is lower. We eat more, but we enjoy it less. Makes sense, right? Conversely, when we eat attentively and with awareness, when we step into that role of the meticulous inspector with our tiny scales, our overall food intake goes down, yet our perceived satisfaction is far, far greater. Acting as an inspector with full awareness measurably decreases the amount we need to consume to feel full, while massively increasing the joy and fulfillment we extract from that exact same meal.
Bringing this all together, we arrive at a super powerful synthesis. The very same bite of food carries a completely different meaning depending entirely on whether it's eaten with attention or with distraction. Whether you're looking at it through the philosophical lens of Sayyid Nursi's Treatise on Frugality or digging into the empirical data of modern nutritional psychology, the conclusion is wonderfully identical. The physical reality of our food, the actual amount we consume, and the depth of meaning we extract from it, it all changes based entirely on our conscious attention. It's a real game changer.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder as you go about the rest of your day. Look, we all have to eat, right? It's a basic necessity of life. But how we approach that daily act is entirely up to us. At your very next meal, will you use your tongue like a mere gatekeeper, just swinging open thoughtlessly for ordinary consumption? Or Will you empower it to be a meticulous inspector, weighing every single blessing with tiny scales of gratitude? The choice is entirely yours. And as we've seen today from both ancient philosophy and modern science, that choice, it changes absolutely everything. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this transforms the way you experience your very next bite.